Oh, hey there. It's me. Welcome back to Ground Zero Salem. I'm Pat. So I got a little bit of a label spotlight for you. Pariah Child Recordings. This will kick in a second. This is the new Tony Tears. This came out just this year on that imprint. The person who runs Pariah Child is part of the Yoshiwara Collective, who I've covered numerous times. Yoshiwara and the Pariah Child. They sometimes co-release stuff. Sometimes, a lot of times, it's just Pariah Child that releases all this stuff. They don't really have a specialty, but they seem to lean a lot towards kind of some doom like this, some kind of trippy stuff, ambient kind of projects, that kind of thing. A few straight up rock and roll kind of bangers. I have some of their catalog because every year or so, year and a half, Gary, who's part of the Yoshiwara Collective over there in Northern Ireland, sends me a package, and it's usually a surprise. So I was going through my mail, found this box there. The postman dropped off about a month and a half ago. It's been a little while before I could get to this because I've had tons of other stuff going on, but I'm going to talk about my little VCLT from those fine folks across the pond there. Starting off with this Tony Tears record, Atlantean Afterlife Living Beyond 2021. Contender for an album of the year for me. I'm a newcomer to Tony Tears. I bought his 2015 album, which name escapes me, and a box set of his earlier material last year, and it's super interesting stuff. Definitely for people that love stuff like Death SS and Mortuary Drape and Abysmal Grief. You know, it's got that same sort of je ne sais quoi that a lot of the Italo Doom bands have. This is a solo project. This guy's been doing this since he was like 15 years old. And I think he's only collaborated with Abysmal Grief. I had it in my brain that he had something to do with Death SS, but I was completely mistaken. And this is one of his more cohesive records. I haven't heard all of them. I don't know if they're getting more cohesive as time goes on. But this one certainly involves a lot of like weird, layered soundscapes and creepy keyboards and stuff, but there's a lot of rocking to be had on it. These super cool, like brittle sounding guitars. It feels very Italian. There's a lot of a strong horror soundtrack kind of vibe to it all over it. Perfect for the oncoming Halloween season, even though I won't be here for Halloween, which is good. It's a tourist nightmare. And then there's moments like this that are, almost pretty much straight up metal, if you can hear that. So it's a great record. Definitely something good to spice up my CD stack with a lot of samey sounding death metal and hardcore, which is my MO, but got to mix it up now and again. Then we've got ST37. This is a long-standing psych band from Austin, Texas. I reviewed one of their albums a little while ago, a few years ago, when I got, I think, my first package from these folks. Look at that tape on that shell. That's really cool. So, this sounds largely improvised, but I don't know. Sounds as if it was recorded live as well. Lots of psychedelic, maybe psychic, maybe they know what's going to happen in the future, I don't know, but definitely psychedelic freak-out stuff. Gets really heavy at points, almost lapsing into noise, but there's also a lot of dipping in and out of like some really catchy bass lines. There's some good guitar solos on it. A lot of jamming, for sure. A lot of jamming. Vocals are sparse, but there's some repetition of choruses. The first song, Over and Over Again, is almost like, it almost sounds like a garage rock kind of song. Maybe they're kind of wearing their influences on their sleeves with the 13th floor elevators or something like that. They're from Austin, you know, but it kind of sounds like that era of sort of garagey punk, but just their big thing seems to be repetition on a lot of stuff with repeating phrases over and over again, and that's the name of the first song, Over and Over Again. So that's cool. It gets pretty hypnotic at times. And they have their quiet moments too, like Observing Dust, the first song on side B. That's very quiet for about 7 minutes, kind of crescendos into something fuzzed out and wild after a bit. Overall, if you like Psych, and I'm not an expert on that really at all, it's pretty much Hawkwind with me and a few other random things that I downloaded back in the blog days, like that band Dark and, you know, some other stuff. This is pretty loose and wild, but it's definitely great to zone out to. So, ST37, Over and Over and Over Again on Pariah Child. Then we've got United Bible Studies with Divining Movements. Nice packaging on this. I also must comment on how neat the packaging is with all these CDs. It's a double CD, it folds out like that. This band's based out of Ireland. I also talked about one of their earlier records a year and a half ago. 2 CDs worth of experimental folk that also has a very like layered sort of soundtracky vibe. Very, very, very angelic, like haunting female vocals all over it. Certainly very otherworldly sounding. Has its roots in Irish and English folk, but has evolved way beyond stuff like that. Read a few interviews, and several of the members have roots in hardcore and punk and Riot Girl and stuff like that. So it's interesting to hear people coming from that sort of background jamming on something like this. This is just lovely music to throw on, just get some work done. It's very relaxing, very otherworldly. Good stuff. United Bible Studies. Of course, I'll leave links to the Bandcamp, for the label, as well as individual ones for each band or recording project. This is The River, a British doom band. They've been around for a while now. This is a compilation of odds and ends, 7 inches and demos and the like. Vicky Walters' voice on this isn't like your typical kind of metal priestess going for a trad doom or kind of power metal thing. It's far more of a unique approach. The only thing I can think of that it reminds me of, and it's a deep cut that a lot of fans of this type of stuff might not even know of, is the vocalist from the DC hardcore, post-hardcore band Ashes. Very like competent, well-sung, kind of sounding vocals, but they don't necessarily come off like a metal vocalist. The music is heavy as balls, brown note crushing, kind of really, really snail's pace, kind of sludgy doom stuff. So that's definitely up my alley. And then finally, Regen Graves, Climax. So this is a solo recording project from the guitarist from Abysmal Grief. Much like his last endeavor, this is very scary sounding, sort of a combination of like krautrock and dark ambient. It has its moments that are sort of Tangerine Dreamish. It seems like this and the last one both had like a strong element of urban decay as an aesthetic, but definitely feels like a creepy horror soundtrack as well. Kind of the same vibes that I get from the quieter moments from this, but without any guitar or anything like that. This is mostly electronic stuff from what I can tell. There is some talking, not really singing, but just like weird mumbling and stuff, which is super creepy. It's really moving. Very transcendent, kind of also very scary soundscapes there, courtesy of Mr. Graves. compilation of Michael. Thank God. And that's what I got for my buddies over there. Quick little discussion, little overview of these, but I'm going to be inserting sound clips so all of you there can get a little taste, as well as the links that are going to be included below. Plenty more updates to come. Lots of free time. Good seeing you. Talk soon.